So I've now given you 4 different scenarios, 2 for the long side, 2 for the short side. And I know that a lot of people, especially the smooth-brained apes on Twitter, will go, oh, so it's going up or down. Oh, so you have an arrow in every direction and you can't be wrong. That just tells me that those people do not understand the logic behind what I am saying. It's not up or down. It's if X happens, I do Y. If A happens, I do B. If C happens, I do D. If, I clearly don't know my fucking alphabet. If E happens, I do F. Okay? So there's 4 different separate scenarios, 2 for the longs, 2 for the shorts, but they each have very specific things that need to happen. And if those things don't happen, I don't take the trade. If we come up here, it doesn't mean I just short. If we get above this high, I don't just short, assuming we're gonna dump back inside. I need to see that low time frame price action show me what I wanna see, just like I saw in here. Or on the Ethereum short that I took and I shared with you guys. The same thing, right? So anyone who thinks that I'm like, well, you're mapping out every scenario, and of course one of them is going to be right, they have a fundamental misunderstanding of the logic behind what I try to do. There's very specific parameters of what I need to see happen for me to get involved in the trade. Not just weakness in here. I need to see a setup form where I have a stop that makes sense. If we have a setup form, right? You guys know I love this, right? But if I'm entering here and my stop has to be way down here, what if my target is only here? Guess what? Even though all those boxes were ticked in terms of the bias, the entry trigger, you know where the idea is wrong, part of your checklist, right? So you're checking off all your shit. One of the items on your checklist is risk reward. I aim for a minimum of 2 reward to 1 risk. So if the risk reward based on the stop super far away is shit, well, this doesn't get checked off. And then there's no trade, right? So that's part of it as well. It's not just blindly aping at any level. There's specific things that you look for. So I like to give you guys multiple scenarios because if you've been watching my streams for a long time, you understand how I think now, and you know what I mean when I say, hey, I'm looking for weakness here. No different than this. This weekly block is huge. So let's say you just long the weekly breaker and your stop goes below the SFP low. How high does price have to go? Because this is valid based on the weekly, but how high does price have to go for the RR to get good? So price could go all the way to 40K and it's 2.5R. I'm not saying you can't take this trade, but are you really going to take a trade where your stop is 20% away from your entry? Maybe, but that means your target needs to be at least 40% away from your entry for the risk reward to even make sense. And based on this being a weekly zone, this could take months to play out. We could come down here. You could be in drawdown for weeks, for months, and then eventually you were right. And 3 to 4 months have gone by. You were underwater for half of that time just to make 2.5R. I think a much more efficient and better way to trade is to say, okay, well, my bias is I think that if price comes in this gray box, there's a good chance that we get a bullish reaction. So if I know that, then on the lower time frames of the weekly, so the 12-hour, etc., if I get a trigger where it does one of these in here, now all of a sudden my entry is here, my stop is here, and now let's go to that same profit target of 40,000. Is that not a much better trade? Less drawdown, less time in the trade. So that's the whole thought process behind what I do is you're doing this top-down analysis and you're just scoping in on an area of price where you have a clear bias, you have a defined draw, higher or lower. Are we going up or down from that area? So if I think that we bounce from here, okay, bullish bias, clear draw on price, now you're ticking those boxes off and you get that lower time frame setup. Now the RR box gets ticked off, right? So the up or down bros, those smooth brained apes, those single digit IQ guys, the reply guys on Twitter, I personally think I've gotten a lot better at just not acknowledging them at all. I'm so swift with the block button these days. If anyone says anything remotely rude or mean to me, just instant block. And it's not because I'm soft. It's not because I have nothing to gain from having some fucking argument with a nobody on Twitter, and I have everything to lose. They want the attention. They want the engagement. I have a lot of followers. I just end up looking dumb no matter what. And I'm petty. It's hard for me, but my life is way better when I just insta block those people, because the people that follow me care about what I have to say, enjoy watching my streams, find value in what I share and what I do. Those are the people I would like to give my energy and my time to, not the trolls.